Celtic fans, welcome back to Celtic World Order podcast. As always, I'm Paddy Boy and I'm joined by Stephen. Not Stevo. Stevo is currently out with the family once again. What a lifestyle that man has.
Priorities.
Exactly. Myself and Stephen are on, guys. We're going to have a wee chat. We're going to discuss the transfer window, but we are too busy just ignoring that, and we'll just call it the window from now on because there doesn't seem to be any transfers in it. However, we have been linked. We are showing interest. We are showing everything else, but we haven't really put the boot down and signed anybody as of yet. If we do, please put it in the comments and let us know, and we'll get on it and we'll discuss it. I'll even bring up stats and everything, guys. Anyway, we'll talk about that. We will break down the important game tomorrow against Falkirk. We will have a chat about players who we cannot get anymore. We'll also talk about the up-and-coming game against Stuttgart. So anything else you want to talk about, guys, please get involved in the chat. Let us know, and we will bring it up and get over it. Stevie, how have you been, big guy?
Well, first of all, good evening, viewers. Welcome to another exciting episode of What? No Players? I mean, the 31st of the month, Paddy. It is really now getting to the, I would say, bargain basement stages, but we've gone from looking at shopping in Primark to actually going looking shopping in charity shops now. It's the players that nobody else wants, and even then we still can't seem to get a fucking deal done. It's outrageous how we've got to this stage, and we're now sitting still two loan players to the good. Absolutely, if I could find a word to describe it, but I don't think such a word exists other than Celtic Board.
Yeah, exactly, mate. And listen, it feeds into what we've been saying, what the collective have been saying, what pretty much every single podcast been saying, that this board aren't fit for purpose, that they're doing the same thing over and over again. Like I've said it on here many, many times, the definition of insanity. You do the same thing over and over and over again and expect different results. Do you know what I mean? And how many times have we sat here coming into transfer windows and going, maybe it'll be a wee bit different. Maybe it'll be a wee bit different. We had it once, and that's when the CEO was Don Mackay, basically, and we've seen what happened to him because he released funds. It's really frustrating, mate. And Celtic are becoming a laughingstock when it comes to transfer windows and things like that. I hate it. You go onto Fabrizio Romano's website and his X page and stuff, and as soon as we link to anybody, he just kind of palms it off because he knows that, like I said before, we show an interest, we show, I don't know, we look at them, we monitor them, we do everything else, all of these shitey cliche words, but we never seem to get it over the line. So we'll kind of kick it off, Stevie. Matt Subanishi, I've seen a few comments here coming in, and a lot of people have brought him up. As we said here, 2 goals again today for Matt Subanishi. Right now, Blackburn have apparently showed an interest in him. They've offered 1.5 million, which I think is an absolute kick in the teeth to Motherwell. Now, as far as we were led to believe, Motherwell valued this man at 4 million quid, right? And they have an interest in Welsh. And Celtic apparently put in a bid of 2 million plus Welsh. That means Celtic value Welsh at 2 million, which I find absolutely baffling. Matt Subanishi, if they turn round tonight and say, yeah, he's 5 million, what's your thoughts? What do you do?
Me personally, I buy him. You know, the thing is, £5 million is not a huge outlay given the amount of money that we have in the bank. Okay, even if you get the kind of the people that say, well, you don't want to spend that amount of money because if we get a new manager in the summer and he doesn't fancy Maswinishi, then that's money wasted. But I think you probably, given the guy's track record in the league so far up to this point, I think even if you get him for the rest of the season, he will continue to score goals. He'll probably, get better service. Maybe that's been a bit unfair in Motherwell. Maybe, get a good amount of service and he'll keep that goal-scoring run. So even if it comes to the end of the season and a new manager comes in and says, he's not in my plans, I don't think you're going to lose any money on him because his record is goal scoring has been good up to this point, and I don't think that's going to decrease if he comes to Celtic. So, yeah, I mean, as you say, Blackburn put in the offer, 1.5 million. That sounds like that was, something that our board would do. 2 million plus Stephen Welsh is not, is not what because you're going from a Scottish club to a Scottish club, okay?
Yeah.
You're asking one of your rivals to sell you their current star player, if you like. Yeah. So, of course, they're going to hold out for that wee bit extra, but they're not asking for 10 million extra. They're asking for an extra £1 million, because even then they need to go out and try and bring somebody in to replace those goals, as we would if we were selling a striker of that quality. So £4 or £5 million, I think, is still a great deal for Celtic.
Would we though? Would we go out and replace a striker? If we sold a striker, we would just move somebody into that position. We wouldn't go out and buy one.
Yeah, no.
I get what you're saying, mate. And when you're talking about the chances and stuff created and all that, I totally agree with you, because when you look at it, right, Motherwell probably create, I don't know, 3-4 chances a game for that laddie. If he's at Celtic, or interest as well, if you believe what you read, has been shown by Rangers. Now, it wouldn't be unlikely for them to come in and sweep him from under their feet. They would just go in and pay the 4 million, 5 million, because that's kind of what they're doing just now. They're showing the cash off. They're throwing it about. A guy like that is going to get double the chances, maybe treble the chances in a game playing for a team like Celtic or Rangers. Now that is just going to improve his goal scoring tally. It's going to make him a more desirable project. So when it comes to other managers, whoever it may be that takes over, I think they'll be delighted with him. I think he'd be a big asset to Celtic, because, like you said, he's doing it in the Scottish League. So why not? How many other guys in the Scottish League have we missed out because of this? Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
It's a no-brainer.
I think we'll mention a name coming up who signed this week for an Italian team. And okay, you might say that's a wee bit extra money, not huge amounts of money. We're not talking mega millions more, but again, a guy who has shown quality in the league, rather than bringing somebody in from another league and you think, oh well, he'll take time to settle and get used to playing in Scottish football. These are guys who have come in. They know what the league is all about. They know the physicality, the speed of the league, the sort of jam-packed defences that generally come up against Celtic. They'll get bodies behind the ball and stuff like that. So if you've got guys who can do that and have shown across the course of this season, then that for me speaks more than taking a punt on somebody who's going to come from a foreign league and who might not settle, or in the short term might not settle. We've obviously got Kvara, and I think, again, he showed enough for me on his one league run out that I think he will settle rather quickly, and hopefully start getting on the end of a ball in or two, and start finding the back of the net.
Yeah, exactly, mate. And obviously, you mentioned Kieran Bowie, formerly of Hibs, now joined Hellas Verona. Again, a guy whose name was touted about there. We'd shown interest, a Scottish international who was looking to cement his place in the squad for the upcoming World Cup. Someone who I think would have done an absolute power at Celtic. I just thought the way he played, in off the shoulder, and with two wingers either side of him, I think he would have been an absolute credit to Celtic. But listen, that one wasn't to be, so we wish him all the best in Hellas Verona, and hope that he kicks on the same as all the other Scottish players have, who have went out to Italy, like Scott McTominay, Aaron Hickey, and all of these kind of guys. So listen, fair play to the guy, and good luck. So let's start getting on to some of the other guys here. I can see people are starting to bring in mention names in the chat there as well. I'm going to try and mention this guy's name. However, please bear with me. It's Nardin Milahus-Jajenovic, we'll call him, formerly of FC Noah. 27 years old, 6'3" striker. Now, I've had a look at stats. Averages a goal pretty much every 1.3 games or something. A goal every 3 games or something like that, for a striker. But again, you have to look at where he's playing. FC Noah. I had to Google it. I believe they are an Armenian team.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on bringing in someone of this age and of this kind of caliber from an Armenian league?
I need to be honest. I'm not a great one for. I mean, I know everybody talks about these analytics things nowadays and all that sort of thing. You know, for a guy that scores every 1.3 games, I think, you know, absolutely that sounds like on paper what we need. We need a guy who knows where the back of the net is. 6'3", okay, you know, big. I don't know how physical he is. I don't know how fast he is. But yeah, you know, for me, you take a punt on somebody like that, or again, you go back to a proven product like Maswanishi, and that's where I find, you know, as I say, it's not just scraping the bottom of the barrel. This is now underneath the barrel that we're going to the Armenian leagues. You know, I would not to decry the Armenian league in any way, but I would think, you know, Scottish football is a step up from playing in the Armenian league.
You would like to think so. Now I've spoken about this several times on here as well, and you'd be fed up hearing that. I had said obviously teams like Bruges and Sporting Lisbon and whatever else, like they're going out and they're identifying players on the fringes of your so-called bigger teams in Germany and England and Italy and whatever else. Like they're highlighting these kind of players and they're bringing them in, and we're taking the players from Bruges and from Sporting and things like that. They're the ones that we're kind of trying to identify. Why can't we be going out and identifying the ones that they're actually looking at as well? Because let's face it, we're on par with teams like this finance-wise. So like, I don't understand why we are going to the bargain basement, like you said, home bargain style, bringing in guys from Armenia and Serie B and things like that. Why do we seem to be scraping the bucket? Is it just that we're looking for that gem that's going to make us millions? Is it the kind of project player that we're looking at?
No, it's down to our lack of scouting network and awareness. You know, the obvious example, Tony Bloom came in and took over Hearts, and the first thing that he got was, I'm going to bring in the Jamestown analytics, and I'm going to bring in Derek McInnes, and I'm going to get the two working in tandem to say, Derek, where do you think the squad needs strengthened? And then you go, now, don't get me wrong, this Jamestown analytics, and I know there's another couple of companies that do it, right? That is purely a tool for you to use, and it gives you a lot more in-depth information to say, this is a position on my team, whether it's striker, right winger, centre back, wherever, that I want strengthened. And that then puts in all your wee requirements, and then it throws out and it says, here we go. Here's a list of players that you asked about and fit your criteria. So it then goes back to the manager to then have a wee bit more look and say, right, maybe let's go and get somebody to go and have a look. Now, if you saw the footage, we saw Martin Neill the other night having a look at Maswanishi. He was at the Motherwell game. He was picked out in the crowd by the cameras, and you're thinking, okay, that's promising that now somebody is going to at least have a look at him, you know. But our overall, the reason why we're looking at this is somebody is, you know, running through a very, very old version of Champ Manager and putting in some figures, and these are the names that it's spitting out. You mentioned earlier in the podcast, any decent team or any decent agent who is out there at the minute, and as soon as that phone rings and somebody says, that's Celtic on the phone for you, that phone's getting cut off. The phone's getting down saying, listen, I don't want to be farting about for 2 weeks, coming backwards and forwards, and we're interested, but we're humming and hawing over getting a deal done. Agents aren't like that these days. The modern game isn't like that. You express an interest, fine, because you know it's a quality player that's going to be attracting maybe 10 bids from 10 really teams round about your same level. But when you're expressing an interest from somebody who nobody else is interested in, that's the Celtic way currently.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about that with the scouting. I've seen a few people in the chat there as well, and they talk about scouting. I mean, we scouted Barakwisha for the best part of 2 years. Had to go out and convince his entourage to come to Celtic and stuff like that. And that absolutely baffles me, because I haven't seen that guy kick a ball for Celtic since he came in. And even his national side were slagging Celtic as well when he was trying to play at the AFCON. So for me, like, the scouting system is just totally null and void. Now, I want to get back to when you're talking about, I'll try and mention his name again, Mihaila Hustijinovic. Yeah. You say they're 6'3", tall striker, blah blah. That's kind of what we should be looking at. Adamu was 6'3". So the height of a player for me doesn't really put that in there. Like you say, we don't know if he's quick. We don't know what he's got to offer because he's playing out in an Armenian league. He scored against Aberdeen in the Conference League, so shows that he's able to do it on a European stage, albeit against Aberdeen. However, for me, I think it's one that we can draw a line under and say, like, thanks for the call, mate, but we're not really that interested.
Yeah, I mean, that's possibly one that's been an agent that's come from the other side and said, oh, I've got this guy that's looking for a move. It would be interesting to see who his actual agent is, and is it somebody that Celtic have done business with before, as in agent wise. You know, if it's a Doohan, you know, then you know you just want to walk away from that, say thanks very much. But yeah.
How many times, how many players have we got just for that phone call, Mr. Doohan? Like, yeah, and you come, pal, and there it is. I'll talk about somebody that we all think that we should sign. A lot of people say we've got no chance and whatever else, but listen, spend the money. It could just happen. We lost out in Kasper Dolberg because we were messing about. I refer to, obviously, Kasper Hawk, the guy who plays for Bodo Glimt. Now, obviously, he has scored again on the big stage to take Bodo Glimt through to the next stage against Inter Milan. They now say that he's worth 10 million. Previously, I think it was 9. Scoring again and putting him through to the latter stages has added $1 million onto his price, mate. And they are still willing to sell him. Now, come on. Surely a player of that quality, a player like that, would just fit right into any team, anywhere. Somebody like that, you've got to go out and spend the 10 million. Get him 10 million and somebody else. Get him Barakwisha along with it. You know what I mean?
And Stephen Welsh.
Well, apparently Welsh can't go because he's already played 2 different teams in, so we can't throw Welsh in there. I made that mistake, but come on, 10 million, Stevie. Surely.
Again, you know, the proof is out there. As you say, he's doing it on the pitch. Minutes, goals. I can understand why his value is going up and up and up, because he's on camera. The world is watching. 10 million for a guy who is able to score at that level. You've got to at least try for him. I think, you know, there will be others looking at him and saying, yeah, he's a guy, you know, in leagues that are you know, more prestigious than ours, shall we say. He's a guy who, if he is scoring goals domestically and in Europe, then absolutely you want to get him on board. But again, as you've said, I think we should be out there and saying, right, here's 10 million, put that in the mix, see if he goes to another team because he's going to get more wages or he's going to be playing in an overall better league, then okay, but the bid was there. It's the non-bids, you know, the just an interest and £2 million for a £4 million player. That is what is really ripping my knitting. Because that's not good business practice, and it doesn't set up to put us as a club in the best light. And again, as we've said, you know, that's why agents are putting the phone down on us or updating their social media going, contacted by Celtic today, move along. You know, it is just embarrassing stuff.
Listen, I totally get it, mate. And listen, I'm just sitting there and I'm thinking how many times this has happened with. It's obviously I mentioned Kasper Dolberg and the messing about, and obviously we didn't get him. He hasn't really kicked on. I actually hasn't kicked on like how they thought he would have, but that's all fine and well. The other one previous to that was like Stuttgart, and again, obviously Norwich came in and kind of stole him from underneath us. Now Norwich are again sniffing about Kasper Hawk. So for me, I think this is one that we just need to go out and get done. That's a statement. Do you know what I mean? Like these people in here mention that 10 million is nothing in today's market, especially for someone like that.
Yeah, if he's scoring, he is worth that amount of money. He's, any player is worth the amount of money that a club are willing to pay for him. That's the thing. So, if he is out there and scoring, I'll go back to the summer. I'll throw in another name there, Paddy. We were linked with a lad, Luis Munteanu.
Yes.
He was a name who we were very interested in the summer, and his club, again, because he was kind of on a good scoring run, the price went up. It started about, we'll take £6 million for him. Then it was £8 million because he was scoring. Then it went up to 10, I think, maybe 11. And of course, that was when Celtic backed off. Now, over the course of the next couple of months, his club kind of fell into a wee bit of kind of financial difficulties. So on the window there, just when it opened, we're willing to listen to offers for him. He went to, I think it was one of the American clubs for €6 million. Now that's £5.2 million on the date that he signed. I think it was the 5th of January. So if he was, if we were interested in him back in the summer, okay, the 11 million was a bit, out of our league at the time. But then we should have been looking at that, come back, say, we've been interested in you before. Your club are now starting to bring the price down to a more realistic level. Again, I think that could have been a done deal if we'd moved quickly and decisively enough. And this again goes back to the point that, we're discussing. It's just getting the deal done, signing that paperwork.
Yeah, it just goes to show that the board are unfit for purpose, mate. They really, really are. When it comes to getting stuff across the line. Now you talk about that there, and like the going in for a player and messing about with prices and stuff. I remember something about Stuttgart, and I think we were offering I think it was like 12.5 million they wanted or something like that, right? And we were kind of hemming and hawing about the price and whatever else. And then apparently Norwich found he had a buyout clause in his contract for something like 7 million. And they executed it and bought him for that. Do you know what I mean? Whereas we're sniffing about going, we could pay 8, we could pay 9. Why is nobody going in and checking this stuff out and actually doing the groundwork?
The lack of experienced people that are dealing with our transfers goes around again. Mr. Tisdale was still in position at that point. What was he doing?
Exactly.
That is his remit. You are here for one purpose and one purpose alone. And if you couldn't have identified that, if you didn't make a phone call and say, let's find out, if there's anything in this guy's contract.
Yeah.
Then I mean, again, it's like the Keystone cops up there that are running the transfer department.
Yeah, exactly. Keeping a wee few quid here and there for themselves. I'm sure the shareholders will be absolutely delighted. Another guy who we've been linked with, and I've seen a few things in the chat here as well, so please get involved here, guys, is Fares Gedjamis from Frosinone Calcio in Serie B. Now, this is a player who, to me, obviously Steve will put in the chat earlier on, he looks like a Tilio, Palma, Haksabanovic, Mikey Johnson, insert shite winger here, just one of the guys. And they are currently asking for 6.5 million for a Serie B player. Now, again, I ask you the question, is that because A, they know Celtic have money, and B, because they know Celtic are desperate?
See, all of the above.
Exactly.
Yes, we're now getting into the last day. It'll be Monday. The people that do the transfers at the SFA, they won't be working tomorrow. So Monday will be the day to get it all done. So yes, if we go and we get that deal done either tomorrow with the paperwork to go through on Monday or Monday itself, then they'll still need to go out and try and replace him. They'll use that money. They won't just say, we can afford to let him go because we've actually got, 3 right wingers that are better than him. So yes, they will hold out for every penny. The closer you get, that's why, again, we've spoken in previous podcasts, we should have been doing deals on the first week of the transfer window. As soon as that window opened, let's get the deals done then. Let's not fart about and then get to the last day of the window and we're either going to be ending up paying over the odds for players, or the window is going to close and then we're into another Iheanacho situation where we need to look and say, right, who's the free agents?
Yeah.
That is how it's been. And, as you say, this is not the first window that this has happened. We should not be surprised at how this is panning out. We can sit here with our fingers crossed and say, I'm sure all the viewers and the fans out there are as frustrated. But why can we as fans looking in to the club and raise all these points, but those within the club can't see what they're dealing with here?
Or can they see, mate, and it's just a wee shrug of the shoulders? That's kind of where I'm at with it. Now, it
could be.
We look at this season, right, where we're sitting at the minute. We're currently sitting in third position.
Yep. 2
points off a fourth. Motherwell are sitting in fourth now. 2 points off us, mate. Hearts, again, as I'm led to believe, are winning at the minute.
Yep.
VAR playing an absolute blinder. So again, they're pulling ahead a little bit. We're going into this game tomorrow against Falkirk. We're looking ahead. We're trying to be positive. But you look at this transfer window, you look at what we've got squad depth-wise. If we've got any injuries or whatever else, we are pretty much 1 or 2 injuries away from ruining this season completely, if it isn't already ruined.
Yeah. As you say, if it's not already, as soon as you lost Cameron to the long-term injury, you knew he wasn't going to be back.
Yeah.
As soon as you lost Jota, even go that way and say this isn't a quick fix and he'll be back. Somebody, the medical staff must have known, he's going to be out longer term than everybody is kind of saying, because we don't want to rush him back and then make a bad situation worse. So at that point, you're also looking at Alistair Johnson. There's still not been any kind of real update as to how long it will be before he's back in training. So all these things are known within the club, and yet again, we've got Colby Donovan playing at right back, with Anthony Ralston now acting as his kind of backup, if you like. That's the thing. It will be a kind of struggle because, again, Falkirk will go into that game, although it's at Celtic Park, they'll be very organised. They'll know where to hurt us. And, as I say, if we can get a 1-0, then again, job done and move on. But yeah, it comes back to the lack of reinforcement of the squad overall.
Yeah, I mean, you just need to look at, obviously, the game against Utrecht there. I think Steve came on and kind of covered it and spoke about it all. So obviously our lineup started against them, right? We had Colby Donovan, Austin Trusty, Liam Scales and Kieran Tierney in defence, right? Now, Araujo will obviously start on the right, which is an upgrade on Colby Donovan.
Yep.
Austin Trusty, so we're going to have Dane Murray in for Austin Trusty because his red card never got overturned. Liam Scales and then obviously Kieran Tierney. What's your thoughts going with that as a back four? Obviously Dane Murray being the kind of light one in there is what you would say.
I've been impressed with Araujo up to this point. I think he's done very well. He's both in a in an attacking and defending sense. So I have no issues with him coming into that game at all. Dane Murray, yes, it is really a case of he's going to have to up his game from what I've seen. Yeah, I mean, is there a chance of Stephen Welsh playing tomorrow? That's a good point there from David. I mean, I think we're assuming that it's going to be Dane Murray, but again, why have Stephen Welsh back? He's already, if he's going to play, he's going to play. I would say he's more experienced than Murray, and therefore, I would suggest if it was my pick, I would go with Welsh. But again, it's still not an Austin Trusty in there. Falkirk will put us under pressure. Yeah. They will try and make every use of set pieces and high balls into the area, as a lot of teams are showing that's where our weakness overall is in terms of defending this season. So yeah, I would be going with Stephen Welsh. I think if it was my pick. Arojo, absolutely fine with that. Yep. Scales, absolutely fine with that. Kieran Tierney, absolutely fine with that.
Yeah. Tommy Burns puts in here as well, man. Mate, I totally understand that. Welsh will play tomorrow, probably get injured, and then that takes out the equation of using him as a leeway to try and get
then it's just a straight 4 million for Maswinishi. Who could have worked that one out?
Aye, it seems to be the kind of thing that would happen to us, doesn't it? I totally agree with you there, and I think that's what we should be looking at going forward to this game against Falkirk. And I think obviously we'll start with Casper in goals. We'll have Araujo on the right. We'll have Welshie, Liam Scales, and Kieran Tierney. Obviously, we had Benji Negrin stepping up again. Always seems to be in the right place.
Yeah.
Obviously, Vasilis Barkas, the hologram, was in goals for FC Utrecht and gave us a wee hand here and there. But Benji Negrin, mate, kicking on again. Say what you want about the guy. He might not be fast. He might not be the most technically gifted player, but by God, he knows how to score goals, doesn't he?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's we spoke a couple of weeks ago about the run of form that Yang was on. And was having a good run, had scored a couple of goals. Negrin's the same, again, top scorer for the club this season. So yeah, whether overall, I think the problem, maybe that's not the right word to use, but I think it's finding where Negrin's best position is, because if you play him as a midfielder, he's in an attacking sense, he's going to get himself into the box and he's going to get on the end of things and he's going to score.
Yeah.
Smashing. Defensively, when you've got Negrin in the middle, that's your jersey down. And we've seen it in games against the cup final against St Mirren, and I know that was Wilfred's team, but the game against Motherwell that followed not long after that, the game against Hearts after that, we're losing games or losing goals in games because we don't have a strong enough midfield.
Yeah.
So that, again, is an issue. If you're going to put Negrin in there, absolutely fine, because, yes, he'll score your goals, but you need to watch what's happening in the midfield, because, again, John McGlynn will look at that team tomorrow as soon as he sees the lineup, and he will know, right, he's not going to do the defensive work. So that's an area of the pitch that we could take advantage of.
Yeah, 100%. Listen, and Robert Duck here, he brings in will Hatate be back in now? If I'm looking at it, obviously we know I like Rio Hatate. I like when he's on form, he's a fantastic player. But for me, going into a game like this, obviously Benji Negrin is scoring goals. Yeah. He's always in the right position. I would play Benji Negrin. I'd play Rio Hatate and obviously Callum McGregor. Not Rio Hatate, sorry. I'd have Arne Engels in there instead of Rio Hatate. I think for a game like that, you need a bit of physicality. You need to have that creativity, and you need to be someone who's more consistent, shall we say, than what Rio Hatate is. Rio tries the dodgy pass here and there and tries to be a bit too precise sometimes and gets caught out with it. I think coming up against a team of John McGlynn's Falkirk. You know how they're going to line up. You know they're going to come at you. You know they're going to cause you problems. It could be Route 1 football, anything from a set piece, like you said, Stevie. We are going to be under pressure. I just think somebody like Arnie Engels needs to be in there. Callum McGregor, people who need to dig in. Let Nygren drift forward. Let him get in the box and do a wee bit. What's your thoughts on that? Would you agree there that Hatate shouldn't be in the squad and that we should maybe start with Engels instead?
Unless Martin's going to do something mad tomorrow and maybe go 4-4-2 rather than 4-3-3. As I say, you can't drop your top scorer. That's the thing. If he's finding those goals, then he's got to be on the park somewhere. But just in terms of where on the park is the problem at the minute, because as I say, when he's in the middle, he's not going to give you any kind of defensive cover at all. That's the thing. That's what you've got to balance it out. So I would say, Hatate over Nygren is not even a valid argument.
They should have been.
Hatate is, to me, he looks like a guy who has already been told that he's not going to the World Cup with Japan. And the same with Dyson. As much as I love Dyson at the minute is just a jersey running about a park. He's not anywhere near the levels that he was last season. Whether he's playing out on the left or where he's through the middle, I think it's almost as if they've been told, you ain't going to the World Cup, son. So, that's why the kind of intensity levels for them have dropped off a wee bit. I think there's no way you can drop Nygren, not at all. But unless Martin's going to go like a 4-4-2, it's going to be a kind of where does he start?
I totally get this here as well. There's people in the chat saying that Engels isn't really that man to step up and be the aggressor, and I get that. The first game back under Martin O'Neill, we seen a different animal in Arnie Engels. I think it was against Dundee United the first time, and he was going in for 50-50s. He wasn't backing out. He showed a bit of power and stuff like that, but we've all seen the videos of him backing out of 50-50s and just getting shoved off the park, getting bullied. I think it was Plunge earlier on, says he's like a powder puff. Do you know what I mean? He's all bark and no bite. We need to toughen him up. We need to get him similar to like it says there, a Scott Brown, a kind of Neill Lennon. We need an enforcer in the middle of the park.
Here's the thing, okay? Here's what I'm going to ask you. A couple of weeks ago, there was supposed interest in Arnie from was it Salzburg? Somebody was considering a move for him. Now,
I think it was Hamburg.
Now, if you're Arnie and you see that there's another team, do you maybe kind of rein it back in a wee bit because you don't want to pick up an injury and put that potential move at risk? Is that maybe why that he's not been as physical in the games that we've seen since that kind of rumour started?
Everybody's in here saying it was Leipzig. Sorry about that, guys.
Leipzig, no problem. That's the thing. If you think there's a potential move afoot, whether you want to go or whether you don't know, the club might say, "Oh, listen, Arnie, somebody's come in with a bid of £50 million, and we just can't, knock back that sort of money." He's away, but he's thrown himself into tackles, as you say, in a game against Dundee United and picks up an injury, and then suddenly that move collapses. So hopefully. If the transfer window closes and Arnie's still with us, then we'll start to see him get back to a bit more physicality. But in terms of a Neill Lennon and a Scott Brown, that's somebody we don't have anybody in the squad at the minute who fits that role. We would need to go out and buy, and we've spent the first part of the podcast talking about why we're not bringing anybody in.
Exactly, and that's how I get mixed up there. Obviously, it was Hamburg who were in for Tanecki. Apparently, it was a bid of something like 12 million or something around the kind of that kind of region. Now, I would have bit your hand off to get Sebastian Tenetke. There you go, plunges just come in there, 13 million for Tenetke. What the fuck? Like, I don't understand why you would knock that back. For me, he is a Tunisian Louis Palma. He's not of that kind of level for me.
Well, I think at the moment we're trying to hold on to him because the option, if he goes, is Balakishwa. If he goes, then your option is maybe Luke McCowan, or now with the new guy in, you could possibly say we'll move Maeda back out to the left. So yeah, I think it's if a team out there are willing to pay X amount of money for a guy who you can say, well, yeah, the money is more than his worth to our club, then he's got to go. He's certainly not. You know, you're not losing anything on him. You're getting more from him than what you paid for him, and that was only 6 months ago or however.
Yeah, listen, 100%, mate. I totally agree with you. I want to kind of bring in this one here as well. Obviously, it says about Tenetke not having an end product. I've said it on here so many times. He's one of the guys. I compared him to Aidan McGeady. He'll beat 5 players and kick the ball out the park. Yeah, and it's so frustrating to watch because I think the old cliche, there is a player there. There is someone that he does have a slight bit of ability, but it's just so frustrating when you know you've got players in the box. You get it to the byline, get the ball across. There's a potential chance of a deflection into the goal or a player getting on the end of it or something like that. Yeah. And he just tries to cut inside again. He gets the ball too often because, again, he's so predictable. So somebody's coming in with that kind of offer for Sebastian Tenetke. Whether it's true, whether it's a load of crap, we don't know. But if somebody's coming in with that, I would have bet their hand right off for it. Yeah. Now, a few people in the chat had commented earlier on and said that Celtic were working on a deal for Freiburg forward Junior Adamu. Now, this has been released from Anthony Joseph, who is always quite up to date with the transfers as well. So he says, understood that discussions have centred around a loan deal for the Austrian international. He's believed to have been waiting for the green light to travel. He understands 2 other clubs are also keen on him. Now, I've got the stats up here as well. I'm just having a quick look at his stats. So far, 7 matches, 1 goal. It's not really something that's going to light you up with enthusiasm and get you buzzing to bring him in, is it? But again, whoever they sign at this moment in time, Stevie, I said it on here before, it's like the 2 guys when they're in the lift and they're shouting 11, 11, 11, and fucking take us anywhere. At this point in stage, we're going, give us a good signing, give us a good signing. Like, give us anybody. Do you know what I mean? It's just get somebody in the door. And is that a kind of case of this guy? Is this just a name that's been, again, floated out that we're not really going to be doing anything with? It's just another name floating about in the transfer window that Celtic are going to cling on to and then do nothing about?
Yeah, I mean, I think you'll probably get to the window will close at midnight and you'll get some sort of, start or statement from the club to say, yeah, we actually tried to buy in 82 players and none of the deals worked out.
Aye.
That still doesn't make it acceptable. Quantity does not equate to, those who you think identify a player, get a deal done. Maswinishi for £4 million, that is a no-brainer. Yeah. No-brainer at all. That certain deals out there, we've seen all our closest rivals, they've been able to go out and do business. So, again, yeah, they should be talking about see if we could transfer a board. Do you not think we, you would be like, do you fancy a CEO? We'll swap you a CEO for Maswinishi. I think you'd probably get, absolutely more joy in getting rid of the board that we've got and saying, look, we do need to, we know where we need, especially guys who are more in tune with the current dynamics of doing transfers in the football environment. That's where we need to start looking at, Tisdale is gone. We should really be looking at somebody, but it's not it's not rocket science to phone Motherwell up and say, you want £4 million from? Okay, I'll send you the cheque. I'm on my PayPal account now. There it goes. That's the thing.
Yeah, that's it, mate. And Plunge putting up the hours and minutes to the end of the transfer window there, mate, that gives me the absolute fear. I think me and Steve are going to be back on here again. Steve will be sitting in a funeral suit, as he was last year.
But definitely the black ties. Definitely.
Oh, mate, it's horrible. It's absolutely horrible, man. We need to get business done. We're in an absolute shit state, and it just keeps going, man. Everybody's jumping right on that there, and I absolutely love the comments coming in here as well. And we've got a free transfer for Nicholson. There's Steve-O's in the chat, guys. Say hi to Steve-O. He says the suit is pressed and ready to go. Steve-O's there. He's he knows the deal. It's horrible. You're supposed to look forward to the transfer window. This is supposed to be an exciting time for your club when you offload the shit and you bring in new signings and everybody gets that wee buzz and everything else. I mean, I spoke about it before and you mentioned Giancara, our big striker. The buzz around him getting his debut, mate, and coming on and getting on the ball and turning with it and showing a bit of pace and setting up a goal and stuff. And it was like, brilliant. This is what we've been missing. A big striker that's willing to get down and do a good bit of work here and just everything that comes with a transfer. It boosts everything. Now, we're talking about this board. Surely it's an easy fix or an easy bit to keep people off their backs to go, buy that player, buy that player, buy them. Have a brilliant transfer window. It eases the pressure on you for a little bit. Now, I'm not wanting these guys to have an easy time, right? They've lived off of this for so long. They are unfit for purpose. They should not be in the positions that they're in, right? Whether you believe that or whether that's your opinion or not, I don't care. That is my opinion and I'm entitled to it. So I do not think these guys should be in at Celtic Park, right? There's a list of them. I could rhyme every single one of them off, but I won't bother. It's pretty much every single one of them, right? They need to do this. They need to go out there and, like you said, back Martin O'Neill, back Sean Maloney. Yeah, they might not be the permanent manager going forward, but they're the manager just now. Yeah, we're still in the Europa League. We've got a match coming up against Stuttgart, who we'll get to. We'll cover that. Who, at this moment in time, will probably absolutely melt us because, like I've said before, we don't have the like for like coming off of the bench. We have an absolutely depleted squad. We're going into this and we're going, right, after the transfer window, then we can add some of our new signings to the European squad. So far, all we're adding to that squad is going to be Araujo and Giancara and their loan signings. We haven't actually went out and bought anybody. Do you know what I mean? It's absolutely ridiculous, mate. What's your thoughts on that?
I bought this pizza for my dinner, Paddy, right? That represents more money spent than our club have done in this transfer window, right? That is, and I'm sure all the viewers out there will be exactly the same. Unlike previous transfer windows, see when you've been winning and you've got a good core in your squad, then you can go out and you can cherry pick and you can say, we need a wee player there, a wee player there, a wee player there, okay? Just to move into the squad to freshen things up. We got to the summer. We sold Kyogo. We sold Nicholas Kuhn. Another couple of players left. At that point, you're turning around and saying, we're now not cherry picking. We need to replace these players quality-wise for quality-wise, as you've said.
Yeah.
It didn't happen in the summer. We now get into the season starting and we start to see players pick up injuries. Cameron, we mentioned, going to be out for the season. Alistair Johnson, going to be out. Okay, Araujo came in and he's filled that role. But we're now into the January window and you turn around and say, again, it's not a requirement to say, oh, we'll try and get some players in just to add a wee bit. It is an absolute necessity because we've still not got a squad that is anywhere near as strong as it was this time last year.
Yeah. Do you know what I think? I think we've messed up here. See, when we started with the collective group and we went out and we started the Not Another Penny campaign. Do you think maybe Michael Nicholson and that have took that on board and went, no bother, guys, we agree. not another penny will be spent this side. Do you think it's a wee bit of get that round you, or is there a wee bit of...
I personally don't see the business sense in that. If I'm looking at it with, hand on heart, as a Celtic fan, for many, many years, I remember going back to the old board, okay? And the old board, basically the bottom line was, as long as we're better than Rangers,
yeah,
we will spend just enough to keep us ahead of Rangers, okay? In the last couple of years, or going back to when Martin and Neill came in, and we started to make inroads and we were getting further in European competition. Martin and Neill, Gordon Strachan did well for us in Europe. We started to see, okay, Brendan, the new format last season where we were doing, so well. Again, we got to the knockout stages and we were up against Bayern. You've got to say, okay, we've now raised the bar to that level. We can't let that bar then slip down. In 6 months, we lost the Scottish Cup final to a team that we shouldn't really have lost the Scottish Cup final. We then went through the summer transfers, as we said, and that's the thing. Nobody came in of any kind of decent level that was close to the guys who had moved out. So yeah, it's so depressing and frustrating, the fact that you're turning around and saying, as I say, us as supporters, we can see where these issues are, but the guys who are paid the big money to do something about it just seem to be sitting there with their heads stuck in the sand. So from a business point of view, I know exactly what you're saying, Paddy, and as you say, your opinion is your opinion. I don't see that the board would deliberately go out and try and sabotage a season. But hey, as I say, I'm only looking at it from outside in.
It just seems so petty, doesn't it? It seems like it's one of the things, and it wouldn't surprise me with these people, because you stand there and you look across when they're at the away games and even at Celtic Park, and they're sitting there with their smug faces and they don't
falling
care.
asleep during games.
Falling asleep during games, not really
or on their phones.
Listen, it's easy to fall asleep on the comfortable seats. Like, they've not got the plastic like me and you. They've got a nice wee coated seat, probably heaters kicking about there as well, somebody bringing them tea and all that. So I can understand why they would fall asleep.
A wee Celtic tartan shawl over their knees and stuff like that. Aye,
definitely.
The spun it.
Aye, it's like I say, it's easier enough for that. But yeah, listen, I said it before, mate, and I'll say it again. We're living off the Ange's season. We really are. And signing wise, like you said, we're looking at that squad. We're relying on guys like James A. Forrest to come on and do a job for us, and we're relying on Callum McGregor to drag us back into games and things like that. Kieran Tierney. These are guys who have been doing it there for 10 years.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean? Give or take. I mean, they've all been kicking about in that squad. And even Tony Ralston, you're looking at these guys to be squad players. Welsh has been there for so long as well. And where's the constant progression? It's like you said, we'll always be that one step ahead of Rangers. Here's a reality check for you. We are not one step ahead of Rangers. They're bringing in guys like Skov Olsen for 10 million. We're sniffing about the transfer market, looking at guys in the Armenian League, Serie B and stuff like that, mate. It's absolutely ridiculous. I said before, we'll talk about the Europa League draw. I want to know your thoughts on this, please, as well, guys. Obviously, when we got through by beating Utrecht, we were either going to get Stuttgart or Ferencváros. Now, I've seen Robbie Keane's interview, and he's sitting there with a big cheesy grin. Oh, it would be great to have Celtic and blah, 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 blah. I don't know how that would have worked out for him, the whole return to Celtic Park, obviously given his links with the Israeli team as well. So I don't quite know if that would have been as much of a lovely homecoming as he expected. So I'm kind of glad that we got Stuttgart instead. Now, I say glad. It's, again, like Steve would say on here, do you want shot or stabbed? It's one of the ones, isn't it? It's there's not going to be any easy games at this stage in a tournament. So when I'm looking at it, mate, a trip to Stuttgart. Am I right in saying we go away to Stuttgart the Wednesday before or the Thursday before the the Celtic Rangers game, or if we get the home tie? That I'm not quite sure how that's worked.
Well, I think they would be the higher seeds, so I would suspect that they will be away first. Yeah. I would think I would need to have a look at that, but I would suspect, given that they finished higher in the table, then they're going to get the home game as their second leg. I would suggest.
Yeah. So that again that kind of leads into Celtic travelling the Thursday before
the derby,
Celtic Rangers game again, which is going to be a big pivotal game in our season. So for us, mate, I was on the rig and I was talking to guys who are Rangers fans. They're like, "Oh, we're quite happy you're through," and blah 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 blah. He's only going to go and win it anyway, but it just means that he's going to be shattered with a European hangover coming into the game against us.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on, one, the Stuttgart draw, two, the kind of Robbie Keane homecoming? Do you can agree with that he would have got a wee bit of stick and stuff like that? And are you kind of gutted, obviously, that we're going to be coming up against Rangers with a European hangover? What's your thoughts, Will?
Yeah, again, probably all of the above.
Yeah.
Stuttgart, it is what it is. I don't think there was going to be any easy ties. You've made it into the knockout stages. Ferencváros are there for a reason. Stuttgart, much higher up. So it was going to be tough. So yes, there you are. 2 days before Hibs. So Stuttgart at home on the 19th. So yeah, it's one of these ones where whoever we were going to get was going to be a toughie. Stuttgart again, you've got Martin here. Who knows? We would have said last year, slightly different circumstances, but we were going up against Bayern, and you're thinking, oh, listen, if this doesn't turn out to be, at least half a dozen to Bayern's, then there's something not right here. And we just seem to raise our game. Martin will have them, totally G'd up for saying, look, go out and do what you do. The game will take care of itself. If we win, we win. If we lose, we lose. That is as kind of honest as you can say. I don't have any kind of premonitions about, oh yeah, we'll do really well, or yes, we'll get scalped. We're up against a quality team, regardless of who we got in the draw. So just go out there, do as best as we can, show that that we are still capable of getting results in Europe. The game will take care of itself, and then we'll probably have the show after it to either have a therapy session or be totally amazed. We'll all have the bottles of champagne out, going, nobody ever saw that coming. So yeah, Robbie Keane. I think Robbie coming back to Celtic, he still has a place in a lot of people's hearts that likes of myself saw him play. But as the manager of an opposing team, it was a bit different when Henrik came back with Barcelona. There was a lot more credit in Henrik's bank than would have been in Robbie's. I think people would have been, polite and said, we know the part you played when you came to this club. But we're now into a serious game of who's getting through to the next round. So yes, I don't think there would have been too much in terms of that. So yeah, it is what it is. As I say, it was going to be hard whoever we get drawn against, but you just want to go out and show that we are going to put in as much of an effort. And Martin, I'm sure, will have the team totally G'd up. Yeah.
That's it, mate. And listen, like I said before as well, we will have our new signings available for the game against Stuttgart as well. So we'll have Araujo in there, we'll have Vankara. And if we manage to bring in anyone else, sorry if I had to make that, if we manage to bring anyone else, then they will be added to that squad as well. Yeah. So listen, Martin and Neill, like I've said on here before, he's very, very good man manager. Yes. Martin can make the players feel 10 foot tall. He will make them believe in themselves, and like you said, one-off games, anything is possible.
Yeah.
But coming up, mate, I'm going to get your team line up here for the game tomorrow against Falkirk. Now, we've got 5 games, and our run in here of the 5 games is slightly easier, in my opinion, than what Hearts and Rangers have. So this is a pivotal start for us tomorrow to go out and kick that 5 games off. It's so important that we win the next 5 games massively. Yep. Like, we need to do that. Obviously, we're wanting to chase and continue to go for this league. So starting off against Falkirk, we've already discussed the defence. We've agreed there that obviously it's going to be Kasper Schmeichels, Araujo, possibly Welsh, and they're ahead of Dane Murray, because I don't think, again, Dane Murray has what it takes. Scalesy and Tierney.
Yeah.
What are you going to go for in the middle then?
I think that, you know, what we spoke about earlier. I think it's going to be Engels, Kalmak. I think Nygren, you know, he's got to be a shoey in for a start. So I think he's going to fit into the middle. And up front, I think it's going to be. I think Maeda will move to the left to make way for Kvankara playing through the middle, and the Yang gang are all behind our guy on the right.
Yeah. Listen, I totally agree with you there, mate. I don't think Teneke or Balakwisha or anyone like that gets a sniff in here. As I said before, I think Rio Hatate will be dropped. And I think obviously like Cowan, Bernardo, guys like that.
Yeah, I'm sure, you know, they'll come off the bench at some point. You know, but I think if you were to ask me my starting 11, I think that would be it. I would be surprised if, for example, Teneke starts on the left instead of Maeda. That would be,
You know, I can agree with what Chill's saying here as well. And I think, Chill, now that we've got someone like Vankara, we can just lump it over the midfield. We can take that out of the equation. We've seen it so many times, teams with us, if we've been bossing the midfield, they just go to route one. They just go to chaos ball, as we call it on here. You just punt the ball over the top, and straight away you've got someone who's able to hold it up. You get wingers coming in off him. If you get Daisamida and Yang running in off of the wings, essentially going and bringing that attacking phase of play, then that's all good for me. So I'm not really fussed about the kind of midfield battle.
I would agree with Chill that it's what we need to watch is when they have the ball in the midfield. That's you know that everybody knows that defensively, you know, where they should be and how we you know we break them down and stop them getting in about us. I think attacking wise, as you say, will be fine. You know, and again, especially at home, it'd be maybe a wee bit different if we were at Falkirk. But I think at home, you know, we'll start to play the nice, attractive attacking football. But yeah, we need to be very, very careful when we're defending.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, like I said before on here as well, John McGlynn is a very, very good manager. He knows what to do against all of the kind of bigger teams. And that's basically why Falkirk are sitting where they are. As well. Chill was saying that Sarachi is fit as well. So that could be another one, obviously a possible starter. I don't think he'll start over Kieran Tierney, not when Martin's in charge. But I do think he'll be one that, like you say, can make an appearance off the bench. And I like Sarachi as well. Sarachi and Araujo going forward, I think, are very, very similar. They're very attacking minded, and they're good at cutting inside as well and covering a wee bit of the midfield. So going forward, mate, I'm quite chuffed with that. One last wee thing then. Obviously, we've just gone over the hour. We've had almost 300 of you guys in the chat. So please listen, like and subscribe. Hit the subscribe button, guys. Doesn't cost you a penny. The same as a Celtic transfer. Press it. Please follow us. It helps us hit loads of algorithms and gets other eyes on us and stuff like that. And we really, really do appreciate all the support, guys.
Especially all the agents that watch us.
Especially all the agents, and maybe even one day the board will see us. So Paul Maguire, straight in there. He's beat you to that. Let me get your result for tomorrow. What is your prediction?
I think 3-1 is definitely doable.
I shouldn't have put that up there. I think I should have just gave you it straight away. After on his score there.
No, I think Kvankara will be getting an early goal tomorrow. That will settle us. Nygren, I think, will chip in with a goal at some point, whether it's another free kick. So yes, I mean, as you say, Paddy, the main thing is 3 points. That is it. If it's a dire 1-0, I don't care. You know, I'm not going to dissect it at the end of the season and say, oh, you know, we're playing Falkirk here and we really should have been scoring more against them. A 1-0 win, you know, is going to get 3 points on the board, and then we move on from there. You know, I'll be quite happy. But yeah, 3-1 I think is certainly realistic.
Yeah, I totally agree with you there. I'm looking for 420's actual result. He's not put a result in there. He's just said we'll go for a Celtic win. 420, come on. Let's see it, mate. Get your result in there, mate. You're always one for slagging me, like when I go for my 4-0. So get it in. Typhoon's in there. 4-0, Paddy. Yep, I totally agree, mate. 4-0 again.
Yeah, I mean we're looking at you know, it might come into the latter stages of the season, and goal difference is going to play a big part in it. So, you know, as I say, hopefully, you know, we'll start to be winning games by more than 1-0 or by the odd goal, you know, like a 2-1 or something like that. You know, if we start getting to go, you know, 2 and 3 goal victories, you know, just to start moving our goal difference along in the right direction.
Yeah, that's it, mate. Going in, obviously, I'm going to go 2-1. I think it's going to be a bit tighter. I think Falkirk, like I said, are quite a good side. I think they'll try and hold off for as long as possible, but I think we've got a wee bit too much to overpower them. If we do get the early goal, then obviously I think it could, like you say, lead to the floodgates opening and possibly a little bit more. But listen, any win will do. Paul's been right in the chat there. It totally is. And as far as I'm led to believe, there's another United player sent off. So that's Hearts pretty much guaranteed the 3 points. So yeah, listen, thank you so much, everybody, for joining us for the live stream. And as I said, please hit the subscribe button. It doesn't cost you a penny, and we really do appreciate it. We'll be back here after the Falkirk game. We will do the breakdown, and we will hopefully be slightly closer than what we are just now.
Yeah.
As always, guys, thank you so much for all the kind support, and hail, hail, guys.
Hail, hail.